So it's happened again. Actors in a Disney film are saying things prior to the film's release that are triggering the spidey senses of members of the fan base. This kind of thing didn't help Snow White one little bit. And I'm not saying there's a catastrophe looming here or anything, but Disney might want to be more careful with the talking points that the actors speak about when doing public interviews. This article is from Entertainment Weekly. Welcome to the retro future, inside the Fantastic Four's first steps into the MCU. The Fantastic Four's first steps stars Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and Ebon Moss-Bachrach, and director Matt Shakman reveal how this movie is different from what we've seen before. I wonder how different this film is going to be from the other Fantastic Four films, for example. Well, let's read on and find out for ourselves, dear viewer. Now, if we scroll a good bit down through the article, we find the following. It talks about the character of Johnny Storm. It says, Johnny is Marvel's archetype of a hothead teenager, but what exactly that means has been open to interpretation over the years. In the 2005 and 2007 Fantastic Four movies, for instance, Chris Evans played the character as a skirt-chasing scallywag. Quinn wanted to do something different. He says, he's a man that leads with a lot of bravado, which can be an affront sometimes. But also he's funny, Quinn says. Myself and Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige were speaking about previous iterations of him and where we are culturally. Where we are culturally. Oh boy. Well, I could say this. We aren't in a good place at the moment culturally when it comes to Hollywood and entertainment in general, for the most part. Nothing, folks. Absolutely nothing has been learned at this point. Maybe this will just be a woke light movie, you know? There'll just be elements of the message, but it won't be too much. And we already know we're going to get a female Silver Surfer, right? Because current year or something. It says, he was branded as this womanizing devil-may-care guy, but is that sexy these days? I don't think so. Well, you may not think so, but I think the vast majority of women like ladies' men, especially in their fiction. This version of Johnny is less callous with other people's feelings. He's Mr. Super Sensitive. Oh dear. And hopefully there's a self-awareness about what's driving that attention-seeking behavior. It's another example of the emasculation of a, straight white male ladies' man. We saw this with James Bond a little bit in the Daniel Craig movies. Johnny Storm, played by Chris Evans in the first two Fantastic Four films, was likable despite being full of himself. Okay, he had an overly inflated sense of ego, but he retained an endearing quality and a charm of his own, and yet he liked the ladies. This seems to be an issue nowadays, where it once wasn't. No one was complaining at the time. And if they did make him a ladies' man for this film, who would complain? A few extremely lefty-lovey publications, probably. Some mainstream, some blog posts. The people who get triggered by nonsense, basically. And who cares? They're a tiny minority. They don't represent the vast majority of people. But these are the people who are pandered to. Women generally like the ladies' man archetype in fiction. But in these modern progressive times, that's problematic, apparently. I don't think women want this, Mr. Super Sensitive beta male version of the character. And there's probably another reason why this change was made as well, which is that Sue Storm is basically the primary character of the film. So there's another very regrettable remark made in this interview. Vanessa Kirby, who plays Sue Storm, said the following. If you played an exact 60s Sue today, everyone would think she's a bit of a doormat. So figuring out how to capture the essence of what she represented to each generation, where the gender politics are different, and embody that today, was one of the greatest joys of this. I'm sure, and I'm sure it's going to be one of the greatest joys for everyone watching. They're going to be so focused on a modern interpretation of the character for today's gender politics. Highlight of the movie for me. At the end of the day, it is a fantastical superhero movie. It's not a documentary. I don't expect absolute period accurate representations of the time necessarily. But perhaps the concern is the use of the term gender politics and what it could potentially mean in the context of the portrayal of Sue Storm. It doesn't necessarily mean she's going to be some Mary Sue girl boss, but what does need to be stated, I think, in this film is that Sue Storm is basically the main character. Pedro Pascal's character of Mr. Fantastic is going to take more of a secondary position behind her. She's the main focus and the main driver of the family and the ensemble. Now, could it still theoretically be a good film in spite of this? Sure. But I do have to be honest here. To me, these are quite concerning remarks to be made at this point prior to the film's release. Disney clearly has not let go of the obsession with modern audience nonsense and pandering to current year gender talking points that the vast majority of audiences don't care about, and would be, if anything, a bit of a turnoff. Considering the troubled place the Marvel Cinematic Universe finds itself at present, and the mistakes that have been made over the last few movies, and how this film is supposed to be the big shake-up film that turns the franchise around, they really could have done without this. I don't think it's panic stations yet for this movie, but I do think it's an early warning sign. And personally, I don't have that much interest in this movie. I didn't have that much interest in the movie anyway, but I really do feel that the Fox Fantastic Four movies from 2005 and 2007 will probably be remembered more fondly than this one. I think they're probably going to be more true to the Fantastic Four comic books than this movie will turn out to be. Finally, I'll say if this film doesn't succeed in the way that Marvel Disney want it to, what are they going to do? Because they need this film to be huge, because this is supposed to be the film that reanimates the MCU, that turns it all around. And if it doesn't succeed, then they're going to be banking on Avengers Doomsday at that point. And given how that film is bringing back so many legacy characters from the MCU, it seems like all this franchise has left at this point is member berries and gimmicks. So when it comes to Fantastic Four First Steps, I think there's just as much pressure for this film to succeed as there is over at Disney Warner when it comes to the new James Gunn Superman movie. But we shall wait and see. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think of this? Be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, hit the notification bell as well to be notified for future updates. Take care, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.